Under Scotland's definition of affordable housing, a social landlord, like the GHA or Wheatley Homes Glasgow as it's now called, can perfectly legitimately, under the rules, tear down 600 socially rented flats and replace them with 300 mid-market rent homes where the tenants will receive private sector tenancies and where you have to be earning over £21,000 to be able to get access to one of these tenancies, and where the rent can be up to 3 times as much at £900 a month. I wanted to talk today about affordable housing. So I'm standing in the Wynford on the edge of the 3 blocks, 151 block, 171 block, 191 block, 120 block is over there. Because this definition, affordable housing, that both the Scottish and UK governments use, has some really far-reaching consequences. They're certainly reaching into the Wynford. So, as you may know, the GHA, who are now the landlords for the scheme, have proposed the demolition of the 4 26-storey blocks. Now, they're the tallest blocks in Glasgow at the moment. Used to be taller, but GHA have torn down some other blocks. Anyway, there are 600 socially rented homes in these blocks, and rents in the Wynford, although they've never been the cheapest social landlord, they're between 300 and 400 odd pounds for the most part. So what the GHA are saying they want to replace these blocks with is mid-market rent housing. Now, they'll probably change their boilerplate. The GHA, or Wheatley Homes Glasgow I think they're called now, own other companies. There's a big umbrella group, but Lowther Homes are their main mid-market rent company. And mid-market rent is still what the Scottish Government call affordable housing. So I was looking into mid-market rent Lowther Homes today, and there's a few on the go in Glasgow. I think about 7 homes that they're trying to lease. They're all somewhere around £700 a month for a 2-bedroom flat. So a substantial rise in the cost of rent if they get these homes built. But Lowther charge between £400 and £900, but more towards the top end, for their mid-market rent homes. Now, you wouldn't be getting the kind of tenancy that the tenants here have. You wouldn't get as many rights. You get basically what's a private sector tenancy with these mid-market rent affordable homes. And we'll have to look at the cost of that, because there's other aspects as well. There's a second aspect, looking at the cost of that to the wider community. So we would be losing 600 socially rented homes to be replaced with around 300 mid-market rent homes, which the Scottish and UK governments would consider affordable. But to get a mid-market rent home, you have to be earning over £21,000. So I can say with relative certainty there are few people in these blocks currently earning over £21,000. And the definition affordable is 80% of the market rent. So what, or less, but generally 80% will be where they'll be tagging the mid-market rent homes. They'll be looking at the privately let flats, and we have in the maisonettes, which you see, in those flats there are some owner-occupiers who've sold out to private landlords. In my street, for example, there is one would have at one point have been a socially rented flat with 3 bedrooms, where the private landlord has taken out the kitchen and turned that kitchen into another box room. So they have 4 box rooms that they're letting out, each for £400 odd a month. So really coining it in. So these new mid-market rent, affordable homes, their rents will be determined by the private sector rents. Now, as I said, I wanted to make an argument about the impact of this affordable housing situation. One of the things that we've seen over the past 20 years now is that social rents have been climbing above inflation year on year. And one of the reasons for that is that social rents started low. That's kind of the point. When schemes like this were being built, this scheme in 1968, the point of public housing, as it was called then, was to depress the market, to get rid of that kind of approach where the landlord in my street has decided to get rid of the kitchen and turn it into another box room so he can find another £400 odd a month. To get rid of that market approach that's led to the crisis of housing that we've seen. But as long as your rent is less than 80% of what these private landlords are charging, and it varies, but as long as it's less than 80%, a social landlord like the GHA can afford to put rents up above inflation every year until it hits that, I wouldn't call it the sweet spot, but that's where we're at, under 80%. And that is going to be a big determining factor in these new, essentially, private sector tenancies that would come and replace these 600 social rented homes. So there really needs to be a sea change in the way in which we determine what something is called affordable. 80% of the market, when the market is going up and up, means that social rents will go up and up. Means that private sector tenancies, effectively run by social landlords, mid-market rent housing, will go up and up and up, even in excess of social rents. And the very idea that we can challenge the market and bring down the cost of housing, it is falling away. It's falling into abeyance. There's no chance that social rents, if they always go up above inflation, can depress the effect of the market. Because if we had landlords who find they can't let their tenancies, they can't let their homes that they've bought up in order to make profit, they can't make a profit if they have these ludicrous rents. And we've seen some really crazy ones in the Wynford. We've seen £850 a month for one flat. Although, you know, that flat where they made the 4 box rooms charging over £400, you think that's enormous, an enormous amount of profit, because the mortgage won't be nothing like that. So that's the real problem with this definition of affordable.